Alright, well, it's the start of the month and deliveries are already arriving. Of course, you've probably gathered by the title of this video that it is Deliveries and Donations. We have a nice little brown paper bag that's the first of the month. This one's come from Narry Warren, from a Mr. Cabelli. I know him, and it's usually military stuff. So let's see what's in this bag. And get into it. I like the brown paper wrapping. It's authentic. It's kind of like Christmas. There we go. He's obviously been getting a lot of his stuff from Pickles, from the Australian Frontline Machines. So this, straight away I see we have a 24 volt 3-pin plug which will fit in the ambulance, which is where we are at the moment. And let's have a look here. This appears to be a 24 volt inverter. It's a nice little 150 watt job, but that's fine, nice little guy. And we've got some various different adapters for different international plugs. But that will be good, a nice little backup job, and a connector that I can borrow and use in the ambulance. So that will be good. Alright, so, well actually it even comes with, it's manual as well. That's unusual buying stuff like this. But yep, that'll be good. Another little inverter. Alright, we'll see what else is in store this month. So the backdrop's going to be the ambulance again, and I've got a few bits showed up. I've got 3 Anderson plugs here. These are black ones, but hopefully they're the right size for the cable we have showing up. Got 3 of those guys. We have a 275 amp battery isolator. That's going to be useful for the cable that we're using, which is some big 6mm double insulated stuff. That's going to run that little boiling vessel. And because I expect mistakes, we have a 250 amp ANL fuse that should fit that. Alright, let's see what else shows up. Alright, so I'm in the field again, and another delivery has arrived. Now, because I left my tripod behind, I'm going to have to open this off camera and then show you the contents. So let's do that. Right, so these are extended power leads for CCTV cameras, and they're all plugged together in series. So I'm guessing that's how they test the leads. But these should be 5-meter leads. Short little extensions that should go from the little 4-way balance that I intend to install on a mate's system. But yeah, still waiting on everything else to arrive. It's been a couple of months from China, so things are still a bit slow. But yeah, anyway, let's keep moving on. Right, so I've been busy making coffee, so excuse the background here. I have picked up some more stuff again. I have some 10mm nuts and bolts, which I thought was supposed to be 7/16. Turns out the original bolts that used to hold the bed frames in this thing were kind of knackered, so 10mm is what we needed. I got some refill gas, which is apparently made in England and worth $10, but not too bad. I ended up paying $79 for a little gas torch. Yeah, so I needed something doing heat shrink, but I didn't want to go up the street and have to deal with all the people up there and take this big hulking vehicle through there, so I bought local. Paid dearly for it, but these are apparently a good quality one, so we'll see how much use, whether I get my $80 worth of use out of that. But on the plus side, I got a freebie with it, so that's not bad. Even though me insisting I don't have air conditioning in this thing. But yeah, it'll be useful for something. It'll probably smell weird. Oh, it is windy, by the way. Anyway, let's get out of this wind and move on, and hopefully we'll get a taste of spring bouquet later. Alright, more deliveries have arrived. this one is apparently from Element 14, which means I can probably guess what it is. Something that I ordered and now no longer have an actual need for. But let's see if I got what I expected. This was ordered purely on part number alone, without any visual description, a visual image or description. So we'll see if I've got what I expected to get. So here we go. Wow, so they send me a whole document, a whole book and calendar with this as well. I guess that mightn't be too bad. These will be the military plugs that I need, or mil-spec plugs that I need for my ambulance. These are about $40 a piece, and they're the 3-pin plugs. I've already got one now, but I'll go and see if they fit. I do need to open one at least to see if it's what I expect. I ended up finding the breakdown of part numbers for these manufacturer. I went through all the possible combinations of part numbers that would actually fit what I need to do. So, wow, there's a nice, so we've got an olive drab shroud on the back. I see how they do it. When you give them the part numbers, they just put all the different parts in a bag together and let you assemble. So that's nifty. Let's have a look here. Well, that certainly looks like the 3-pin arrangement that I need. And we've got the shroud here that I think goes on that way. So that will probably fit. It'll be nice to see if I was correct. And let's see our pin configuration. So our A pin should be adjacent to the notch, which that's correct. So that's our correct pinning. There's our rubber shroud and a little rubber thingy. I think that might be used for getting it in there, or it's the world's tiniest dildo. I'm not sure which. But yeah, anyway, I've got 2 of these guys, so I can probably sell one of them back and make a bit of money. But yeah, see how we go. See what else shows up. Alright, this delivery I ordered about a week ago from the UK. But I'm actually kind of surprised it arrived in this time. This one's going to be kind of, this one's exciting me a bit. But because it's from the UK and it's inside a week, I'm going to use some of this stuff. But anyway, just because there's some rumours that some of those variants can hang on a long period of time, so just going to play it safe. From China stuff I'm not too worried about, mostly because they're largely getting it under control, and it takes like a month for stuff to get here. Right, this one come from armysales.co.uk. This is a surplus lead. Oh, it smells like rot-proof rope. Here we go. Wow, this is probably new old stock from the military. It's got its paper wrapping on it still, and its original string, which we're going to cut because we intend on using it. It's yeah, this should be a lead for that boiling vessel I got from the UK. That's what I need, that lead right there. So I've got 4 big leads out of it, which means I don't need to dismantle this and rewire the plug. I do need to figure out how to get this into an Anderson plug though. And we've got a female connector at the other end, which we are probably not going to use. But this is good, and that's got a part number, an FV324322/1. So that would probably be the lead's part number. This is definitely going to need a bit of a cleanup, but the main thing we need in this is this plug here. So anyway, we'll do something with that fairly shortly. We're in the field again for some more arrivals. We've got some vinyl tubing, got a weather station, some more paint rags, a couple of straps, and plastic tray, and a couple of small handles. And plastic tray, looking at this, will probably just fit nicely the hot water service that I lined it up for. That'll be good. Alright, let's continue with what else we get. In the field again, and we've got some sweet batteries, AA's and AAA's. These actually aren't a bad brand, they keep up pretty well with the brand name ones. Alright, Not much more to that. It's batteries. They arrived. Let's find more interesting stuff. Right, we've got a couple more things have showed up. Some donations of lollies, which I appreciate. These are the chocolate heavy bags. Corner store lollies. Can't help but love them. Alright, the next one is labelled heavy, and I think I know why. Because it's big and heavy, and every inch of it is consumed by its contents and not much packing. And it's got couriers please second rear door, roller door, authority to leave. That must be the pickup, because we don't have a roller door here. Alright, let's have a look at what this is, and if it is what I think it is, this is probably from Aussie Storm Shop. Again, some of you guys that watch this stuff will probably know what Aussie Storm Shop sell. Well, here's a receipt from Aussie Storm Shop in the top here, so I won't show you that. It's got some personal details on it. Oh, I tell a lie, there is some packing. Okay, so straight off the bat, there's a bunch of flameless ration heaters. And so, how many ration heaters do we have? We have 6 in that one, 6 in that one, for a total of 12. Good. Which probably means we've got 12 Hunger Buster ration packs as well. So let's see. We've got a whole bunch of them. I won't go through them all. They're all pretty much the same, just different flavours. We've got a couple of each and then some multiples. These are packed by the same company that packed for the Defence Force as well. They are actually quite nice when they're new. By the time the reserves get them, which is when I first tasted similar food, I mean the rat packs have changed a bit over the years, but when I tasted these retort pouch meals, they weren't great, but they were about probably 3 years out of date by the time we got them. These guys were packed July 2020, so and some will be newer than that. So these still taste really nice. Yeah, so they're like pretty much everything in their series of meals is actually good. So I won't unpack all 12 of these. You get the general idea. It's 12 of those. These are flameless ration packs. These are like iron oxide and magnesium in a little pouch in a foil heat-proof bag. You put a cup of water in there, or half a cup of water, and they steam and boil away with the pouch in there, or your mashed spud or whatever you make, and make a nice hot meal. We also have the what is it? The boiling vessel, the cooking vessel from a Centurion tank. So we probably won't need those unless we're out of battery power. But we're outfitted pretty well for rat packs now. I'm going to go shove them in the ambulance. Alright, so another delivery has arrived, and it's a big parcel that doesn't feel like there's actually anything in it. And getting it open is going to be a challenge. So let's find a pair of knives that are connected by a swiveling rivet. And actually, you know, I've been burnt with this before. Let's cut along the edge. Alright. Let's see what we have in here. I don't actually feel anything in here. There is a sheet. It's a packing sheet. I think this might be from BSC. Ah, it is. Okay. These should be spring washers. Alright, this is good, because these were going to cost me about 66 or 80 bucks to buy a pack of 50 of the things when I only needed 2. But I have 4 of them. So should we have to reco that 24 volt alternator again, we can redo that without having to order them. So that's the last part that I need to reco it. I've got the high-speed bearings, and these guys. I don't think I've showed you the high-speed bearings, but I don't think it really matters. Anyway, now for a donation. I got a donation. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I keep having arguments with my apprentice over her little rabbit she calls Sprinkles, which is identical to this, just this one's new. So now I have my own, and she doesn't have to complain about it. But this was a donation by somebody who wanted to see the argument stop. Anyway, let's see what else shows up.
Alright, so these are the two bearings that I mentioned in the last clip. They are FAG brand. Well, I didn't make the name, guys, so don't shoot me. These are 6205 bearings, but they are C3 rated, which means they are high speed, high temperature. They are rated a little bit better than the ones that were originally in the 24 volt alternator that I intend to use. And that just means they're externally sealed. They have a little bit more room for expansion in them. Yeah, they're designed really to run at a higher speed and higher temperatures, which will be good on an alternator. It's my senior technician's advice and experience there in auto elec work. So we'll put these in, get that alternator happening. See you all for the next delivery. Some more stuff has arrived, and I'm probably sound a little husky. The change in weather's kind of caught up with me. First of all, we got some electronic circuit board cleaner. This is really good stuff. Gets flux off and oxides, all sorts of things. Wouldn't be without it, especially now that I own 2 vehicles wide by Lucas. Some PTFE dry lubricant, handy for so many things. Not so useful for personal use, but we'll talk about that another day. Some fresh solder. Now, this is Duratec brand. For years I used Weller brand. I had a roll of it that took me about 10 years to get through. This stuff is made in China, but it is a flux core. It's not too bad. I've used better though. Anyway, I got a GPS speedo. Because there is a missing tooth on the speedo of both the ambulance and my 4x4 Land Rover, and so there is about a 10km/h variance. There's already somebody messaging me while I'm in the middle of this, so I'm going to leave that in there and we're going to move on. This will be handy though. This will give me a bit of a verification. My GPS gives me like a 1 square centimetre readout of my speed, so this will be nice just to have a better verification, especially now that I just put close to $2,600 worth of tyres on the thing. Now, one of my more avid fans or subscribers, or however he wants to describe himself, a Mr. Tom, wanted me to get a decent clamp meter, so I did. I've got a dedicated clamp meter. To show you what I've been using beforehand, we'll open a couple of pouches just to show you what I have instead. Now, I had been using this for years. Now, this is a plug-in multimeter clamp. It's not real great for DC. It's mostly good for AC, and you have to translate. You have to have a little table here to translate the current to amps, and it's just really not that great. Especially not when it comes to DC stuff, and that's, look, a majority of what I do. Now, that used to plug into this guy here. Well, no, that's my video camera multimeter. Alright, anyway, I have a quality multimeter that I plug it into. So, anyway, I won't need any of that. I have a true RMS AC/DC now. So, what if it works for metal music? I'll put it around some speaker cables and play some AC/DC through it and see if it measures it. Anyway, let's move on. There's bound to be more stuff. We'll see you soon enough. Alright, so autumn has struck, and of course I need air conditioning still. But we have a parcel that I guess has come from China. I have lost track of all these things that are supposed to be coming just because of the amount of time it's taking to get stuff at the moment. But I guess you can't worry too much, I guess, when they're fighting viruses and whatnot. Now, I'm trying to keep the shipping label out of the view here, just because it saves me the trouble of covering it up, because you just can't trust people on the internet these days. Oh, hello. These are the bits I've been waiting for. Awesome. Now, let's hope these are the right gender ones. I ordered some of these a while ago and they were the wrong genders. They were all female plugs. No, these are the correct ones. Alright, These are like four-way ballons, so you put one each of these at the end of some Cat 5, and you can do it with either an RJ45 plug or bare connections. These are good. You can run 4 cameras over a single cable, provided you power them at the destination. Very good, and they handle AHD signal very nicely. So they are for a mate who's doing some cleaning with his cameras, which is good because maybe he might pay for his stuff finally. Anyway, let's move on and see what else shows up. Alright, we've had some donations. A viewer of mine has seen my jewellery making videos and has decided to send me with a bag of assorted jewellery bits. Now, I'm reasonably sure these are just plated steel, but let's get a magnet. If my magnets are on hand, there is one of these. Yeah, so judging by that, these guys are probably coated steel, but that's alright. I don't really deal with high value metals anyway, although I probably will in the future. But between this and that opal that I had donated earlier, probably work well. These guys actually aren't magnetic, they might actually be silver clasps. So there's some earring bits and bobs in here as well, so it'll be nice. And there was also some actual silver stuff. This is silver, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely it's not magnetic at all. So let's have a closer look at these and see what's in this bag, because this looks like the higher value stuff. Alright, so wow, they're good quality silver chains, but they tangle. So this is something really nice. This is like a serpent weave or something. It's a flat weave or flat chain of some kind with a silver clasp on it. It's very nice looking. And we've got ourselves a different chain here. I was going to say it looked like a Figaro chain, but I'm not as familiar with the chain styles. This is a flat chain, certainly. It's a large link and 3 small alternating. Again with nice little spring clasp there. And there appears there's a third one in here as well. It's much daintier than I'm used to dealing with, and it has tangled around everything. What do we got here? This is really testing my limited dexterity, this. This is a fairly standard chain. They're 90-degree offset rings. And it's got the circular spring clasp in here. These guys open with a little lever on the side. And this, it's obviously designed to intersect the chain, because there's a couple of little loops in here and a tail on it for grasping easier. So interesting stuff. These will certainly be handy. Now, because we did actually pay a bit of money here when I made this for a Valentine's gift to my wife, yeah, we did actually buy a quality chain in town. So this it was the news that we'd actually paid for a silver chain that spawned some of these donations. The other thing is some of these rings will replace this little spring ring here. This is actually a piece of a coil spring that I've used, partly because it's durable and partly because it's what I had at the time. So we'll probably swap one of them out with one of these little rings here and make it look a lot better. And I'll give this a bit of a clean up in the process as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. There is some interesting stuff that shows up from time to time, and this is the stuff I find probably the most interesting at the moment. Anyway, let's move on and see what else shows up this month. Right, a couple more deliveries have arrived. We've got a junction box here. It's made of polycarbonate and it has a flange. That hopefully should house this little thing, which is a solid state relay that's good for 100 amps. Alright, and I've got a visitor. We'll be back. Alright, that was a brief little intermission. Let's push all the bits and pieces out of the way. My neighbour dropped in and needed some help with his air horns. We ended up rewiring an entirely new loom for him. Alright, so this is a solid state 100 amp relay, useful for up to 32 volts. So 24 it should be good. So this should turn my little boiling vessel on and off. Using the internal thermostat, which I have blown the living guts out of. But again, I'm expecting another one to arrive at some point in the near future. That will work as desired with this, but at the same time, I'll also be retrofitting the old one with a thermostat control that I can adjust. But anyway, that's a story for another video. I'm sure we'll have some more stuff in a minute. We've got a bunch more stuff showed up today. A whole bunch of hose clamps for a start. And of course we're in the field again. Bunch of hose clamps. Now we've got some Anderson plugs. We've got some grey ones this time. They're going to go for my boiling vessel. What are these? ECH 0050s. I'm told these won't plug into the black ones. Find out. Some bare terminals. Awesome stuff. And vacuum line. It's good stuff. It's transmission hose, but it's the same size as the vacuum line in the ambulance. We have some piggyback battery terminals and some 6mm wire. Yeah, let's see what else shows up. Well, it appears as summer still has something in store for us, even though autumn has sprung, even though it's not spring. So we have some more stuff arrived. Some Duratec flush cutters. These things, I pretty well live for these things. I can't really do what I do without a decent set of flush cutters. So I have 2 spares. For reference, this is a pair that is still in reasonable good nick, but they do suffer fairly regular damage at my hands. So I get them regularly. What else do we have? Some bow shackles. 2 of, in fact, because they keep getting nicked off my Land Rover. Anyway, Tool Pro 1/2 inch, 3/8 to 1/2 inch socket adapters. They're handy for reasons I'll explain in another video. Some socket extenders or extension bars. I need these because I've needed them for a long time. But more importantly, these are 1/2 inch ones. I've got 3/8 drive on everything, so that is nice. We got some belts, some B44 belts. These are 17mm wide V belts. Hopefully these will run the 24-volt alternator that I've just put in the ambulance. A video on that one probably before you see this anyway. So it'll probably, if you go back a few videos, you'll probably find that. I will have already posted it by the time this comes out. And finally, a Briggs & Stratton long service life filter for my Argo. Now I do have some Briggs & Stratton brand oil, but that's nothing fancy, and I didn't want to drag it inside. So that's it for the moment. We'll see if anything else shows up by the end of the month. It is only, however, 12 days into the month. Looks like this is going to be a busy month for deliveries. And I'm starting to get some problems too, so I'm going in for an infusion in a few days too. Can I find out a way that I can actually sort of roughly film the trip so that you guys can get a bit of an impression? There might be an MS related video coming up one day soon. We'll see what happens. But this is a donations and deliveries video, so there'll be more stuff hopefully in the next clip. Alright, I've had another delivery arrive. The camera angle's a bit skew if this is a big one. Alright. This one. I've been tracking this one, so I know it's come from Cobageddon Military Supplies, which might give you a hint as to what it is. You may have seen one of these in my videos already, but let's see if I can get through this. Still a little bit hay fevery today, but I'm getting there. And I've just been in for a 2 hour long MRI, so I may be a little slow. It's like Christmas. See if we can get into it all. Alright. Yep. Come underneath. See if we can get this big ass box open. Well, it's square, so it doesn't really have an arse end, but it's still big. So I use that in a colloquial context. Alright. Can we get into this? Alright. Oh, this is a bit different to what I'd expected. This might be a different style. Oh, it is indeed. Alright. Oh, this is a modern one. Ah. This is a modern boiling vessel with a different plug. Okay, now I've got to find all new connections. Right. This is a modern boiling vessel from the same company that made the existing one I have. This is from Electrothermal Bibby Scientific. So I think that's what they've become now. This one only draws 15 amps, but it is a 28 volt one. This might be better for the longer trips. Oh, and I've got a locking latch. That's nice. And our Bain Marie section on the top. Oh, pack of silica gel. It's nice and clean, and it's all stainless. This looks nice. And it's actually got lights to tell you when it's actually working. And a high and a low switch. And a little 3-pin plug. Yay, I'm going to have to figure out what that one is. But the way I've got things set up, it should be fairly easy for me to retrofit this one. And this appears to have a screw out the side that is bent in because it's been transported wrong. But that could potentially be bent back into shape. Well, it's not too bad. That is frustrating, but yeah, I'll probably bash that into shape and then, oh, there we go. Alright, and that screw is still bent. I'll probably zing that off with a grinder anyway, because that will be in the way for where we need it to be. But this is in a lot better nick, so I can probably make an adapter to fit my existing system anyway. So yeah, this has got a plastic lid on it, but the lid is actually insulated in this one, which is nice. So that might end up being a better solution. Alright, let's see what else we get. Alright, I'm in the middle of a project, but more stuff has arrived. More terminals and more butt splice terminals for when your butt needs splicing. And when your blue butt needs splicing. Now, and a whole bunch of cable here, which is about 4 mil square, somewhere about that. And yet another Anderson plug, because I just can't get enough of them lately. Alright, let's move on. Well, we've had another delivery, and we're in the ambulance for this one. I had 2 big hunks of 4-inch thick foam, although they ran out of 4-inch, so they've glued in 2 layers of 2-inch foam together. Kind of actually wish they might have actually just given us the 4 layers of that foam and just not bothered gluing it, being as we're going to stack it all together anyway. That is going to replace this bed here. Anyway, we'll see what else shows up. I think we're going to be running out of money this month. Alright, well, another delivery or donation has arrived. I'm not sure which this is, but there's an Oz Post bag sitting on my desk since I've just got home. Have a look. This is an iBright something. Okay, so it's an iBright 720p LED projector. I'm going to take my time and actually look at this. Now, most of these cheap projectors are like 320 by 240, even though they like take standard resolutions and like 1080p and stuff. They're usually like a 320 by 240 LCD projection unit. This one seems to hint at it's higher. Yeah, we'll have a look at the manual. But I do have one that is 320 by 240 that we can compare with. And this one is actually considerably bigger, and that is probably indicative of having a larger sensor. And it's got a larger lens too. So, and it's actually quite a bit heavier, and it's got a keystone knob. That'll be nice. And it's got a thread for the tripod mount, which will be nice. So that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait till tonight to test this out. But we have what looks like a little speaker that'll be useless. It's mains powered, but I'm planning on putting this in the ambulance, and we have a 500 VA sine wave inverter, which should probably handle the CPAP we've got to run as well as this. We have an El Manuel on here that shows you that don't plug anything into plugs that don't fit. Let's have a look what's in our little gift box in here as well. We'll have a look at all the other stuff, and we might change our camera angle a little bit. So we have a remote that'll be nifty, volume up and down and mute, that we'll probably never use because we're going to be running audio separately. Pretty intuitive control pad and a menu and a return button. Alright. We have it's USB-C with a micro with a HDMI connector. That's actually nice to see. And they give you a HDMI lead with it. This is actually not bad. And we've got a little foot screw thingy here that I'm not sure where that fits. I'm going to guess probably in the tripod mount thing. Yep, that's where that fits. So I can now sit at an angle. Okay. Standard figure 8 power cable, but looks like a reasonable amount of length. That will be nice because I do have to go a distance. And some AV leads. That's nifty too if I want to plug the N64 in. But I have a Raspberry Pi connected in the ambulance, so I can run an N64 emulator on that if I need to. And I have several Raspberry Pi 3s stacked up to work on as well, so that will be fun. Alright, that's it for this one. We'll see what else shows up. A little additional when I've come to test it. I found out where they saved the money. No, they didn't spend any money on batteries. But my local J-Car guys got me covered in that regard. Okay, here we go. Spin around and have a look at the wall over all the mess and junk that's in here. That's a whole lot better resolution than the other one. So I think it might actually be native 720. That'll be nice. Ignore all the junk that is here. It's been a busy week, busy month. Alright, we're going to set this up and we'll move on. Well, the air conditioning's on again, but we have another donation this time. First donation for a while. I've had one of these before, in fact. This is a Digitech analog video capture device, and it's got SVID and RCA connections in. So and it has a little capture button, which is just a soft triggers program usually, but you can trigger it through the software itself. You don't need to use that button. It is USB 2.0 and not the highest of data rates, but it does do an okay job if you're desperate to get something digitized off VHS or something of the likes. So this might be useful in the channel. I've got another one somewhere. I think I left it down at the museum though. But anyway, we'll see what else shows up. Well, it's still air conditioner weather and the donations are still arriving. These are some little thermal cutouts, little bimetallic strips in a can. This one I think is good for 95 degrees Celsius. This one I think is good for 90. We'll see how we go there. I've got to test these out and make sure they work. These, I believe, were removed from microwaves, I'm told. The thermal shutdowns for them. These might be handy for a project I have coming up. Anyway, let's see what else shows up. Right, some more deliveries have arrived. I'm in the middle of another project, but I want to open these and use them for the project, so you're going to have a windy unboxing. Anyway, some of this stuff has arrived. This is spray-on silicone or roof and gutter sealant. Interesting stuff. I'm learning to use it in the middle of a video at the moment. I'm going to nickname this stuff Spray Jizz. You'll see in the next episode of the ambulance repairs why that is. Now this has arrived. This is a parcel we're going to open on camera, which requires a cutting implement, preferably a sheep's foot blade so I don't cut myself.
That beep beep beep, by the way, is the Vic Emergency app telling me there's another flood warning. Part of the project I'm working on at the moment is a bit of a hurry job, or a rush job, to try and seal up the water leaks in the ambulance. Alright, this is a plug, hopefully, to fit that guy over there. I managed to get, you probably would have seen in a previous video or earlier this month, I got one of these guys from the UK for the old style boiling vessel. I thought I was getting a new boiling vessel, but I got one of these guys instead. So I want to unbox this right now and see if it fits the connection. I've been waiting very eagerly for this. If it is, I'm going to abandon what I'm doing and fit this plug up right now, because I'm going to need it this afternoon. Alright, so we get a cap on here with a part number for the cap on here. Oh, this one actually shows the different plugs as well. Alright, it's got pins fitted. Oh, and we've got the wire block and everything in there too. So let's pull my temporary plug off. It fits. Does the thread fit? Haha! I took a total guess at that based on part numbers alone and measurements. Ha! Beautiful! I've got a plug. I'm going to run inside and fit that up pretty well right away. So I'm happy to see that. That was about a $65 plug, by the way. Not cheap. And the two ones for the 15 amp plugs are the two other plugs I bought for the 24 volt sockets up at the other end. Cost me $92 for two plugs. Anyway, let's keep going. We have some more deliveries, although my desk is messy at the moment because we're running on battery power while I replace batteries in the UPS. But we have arrived today. 4 new Anderson plugs. I have used lots of these, and I'm pretty sure I've already received some this month, so we won't spend too much time on them. Now, we have 2 batteries showed up. These are from the local JCar store. These are dry power. I'm not sure why they call them dry power, but they're better than the Diamec brand batteries that are coming out of the UPS that I'm in the middle of changing. So I've stopped for a moment to show these things that have come in, and we'll get on with filming that little episode. Anyway, let's see what else shows up. It's getting close to the end of the month, so we might wrap this up very soon. Right, we've had another delivery. It's a 15A 1205 belt. It's an A-section belt that's 1205 millimeters long. That's a replacement for a 6-wheel drive ambulance. Also needing replacement is our Club Reg sticker, but we'll work on that. Anyway, yeah, there's bound to be more showing up. Alright, we've got some final donations for the month, or these are deliveries. We have a 4700 microfarad 50 volt capacitor. We have some 12 volt relays, 3 of here, and we have some 5.5 2.1mm DC plugs. I have not actually found the official naming of this plug. I keep calling them Canon plugs, but I don't think that's correct, because Canon is actually a company that makes mil-spec plugs. So I don't know what these are actually called, but everybody calls them DC plugs. So that's pretty well the end of our deliveries and donations for this month. Probably a day or two early because we have a power outage tomorrow, and that's why I'm doing some work here. I am building my power supply boards. These are boards that I had manufactured off my own designs, and basically you take a DC in here from battery, a DC from a mains plug pack adapter. If mains drops, it runs everything off this capacitor for the brief moment it takes for the relay to drop and close, and this diode here stops the bleed back. So yeah, I will be constructing another one of them to keep my cameras active whilst the power's out. So that's pretty well it for the month. I hope it was interesting. I'm doing this mostly for channel filler each month. So I guess let me know what you reckon. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Hope it was fun.